The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class of 2026 has been announced, and my one-word reaction? Wow. Is that a good wow or a bad wow? There's much to discuss. Rock Hall 2026 right now on Track by Track. Hey everybody, my name's Kyle and this is Track by Track, music reviews, news, and commentary. Thanks for tuning in today, and if this is your first time here, please take a second to click subscribe so you won't miss future reviews and more. Every year I say the list of the inductees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is surprising, but somehow this year it felt more surprising than ever. It started with the announcement itself, which was done live on the American Idol TV show. The show opened with a performance by Billy Idol, which by his name alone was a booking long overdue for American Idol to arrange. His appearance was my first Rock Hall surprise of the night. Knowing the show would be announcing the inductees, I said, wow, I guess that means Billy Idol is in. And indeed, he was. About an hour later, the show announced the rest of the class of 2026, and I responded with, wow, a few more times. Wow, because some of the inductees felt completely out of left field. And also, wow, because there were choices made that I didn't think the Rock Hall would be bold enough to do. So let's run down this year's inductees in the prestigious performers category. Here is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class of 2026. Phil Collins, Billy Idol, Iron Maiden, Joy Division and New Order, Oasis, Sade, Luther Vandross, and Wu-Tang Clan. 8 performers going into the Rock Hall this year, one more than last year's group. As usual, the list is dominated by male acts, with Sade being the only female act in the performer category this year, out of 6 that were nominated. She'll be able to exchange girl talk with New Order's Jillian Gilbert, the only other woman being inducted in that category. Speaking of the Joy Division New Order induction, it's hard to believe, but that is the oldest act on the ballot this year. Joy Division made its debut in 1978, so hardly a legacy act. Still, their announcement got my biggest wow reaction because I truly didn't think they would make the cut in the performer category. I actually did predict they would be inducted this year, but in a category like musical excellence. So I'm really surprised and thrilled, honestly, to see that the Rock Hall actually voted them in. Definitely my personal favorite induction for 2026. And then there's the next oldest act on the ballot this year, which is Iron Maiden. Viewers of this channel have long pointed to Iron Maiden as one of the biggest ongoing snubs in Rock Hall history. Metal has never been given enough respect by the Rock Hall, and it seemed like Maiden was going to need to follow the Judas Priest path to induction in a side category. But this year, on the band's 3rd nomination, the Rock Hall finally made good and voted them in. It is a recognition that is long overdue and very, very well deserved. Also overdue for induction is Phil Collins as a solo act. Collins has seen huge success on the albums and singles charts and has unquestionably been one of the most talked about rock drummers of the past 50 years. He's already in the Rock Hall with Genesis, of course, but I think he's more than earned induction on his own. With news that his health has seen significant improvements recently, here's hoping he can make a triumphant appearance on the Rock Hall stage later this year. Then there's Billy Idol, who for 1 hour on Monday night was the only announced inductee for the class of 2026. You know, it seems like there's a strong chance that new music documentary films may have an influence on which acts the Rock Hall put on their radar. Both Jeff Buckley and Billy Idol had reasonably high-profile documentaries released in the past year, both of which I highly recommend. It may be that Buckley's film helped raise his profile and snagged him his first nomination this year. He didn't end up making the cut, of course, but Billy Idol did. This is his 2nd nomination for the Rock Hall, and it's great to see him recognized alongside his longtime collaborator and guitar legend, Steve Stevens. And how about Oasis? Earning induction on their 3rd Rock Hall nomination this year, this act more than any other on the list seemed inevitable. I predicted 2026 would be their year, and I think the honor is well deserved. But of course, now everyone is making predictions that the band will be a no-show for the induction ceremony. That would certainly be in character for the Gallagher brothers, no question about it. But we have seen a number of acts have a change of heart in the past, speaking negatively about the Rock Hall, but then becoming a bit more humble, shall we say, after actually being selected for induction. The word humble has never been used to describe Oasis, though, so who knows? Maybe they show up just to tell the place off. What's more rock and roll than that? Speaking of what's rock and roll, let's touch on the three acts that fall somewhat outside of a more guitar-centric definition of the genre. Sade being inducted was a surprise to me, particularly in her being selected over Mariah Carey. Between the two, I definitely enjoy Sade more, and she had a big influence on my appreciation of different musical styles at a younger age. I didn't think she'd get inducted, but I'm fully supportive of her selection. And then there's Luther Vandross, one of the most iconic male voices in R&B of the last 50 years. He's an easy thumbs up for me, and was one of my predictions for the class of 2026, getting in on his first ever nomination. But I have no doubt that the most controversial inductee of the year has to be Wu-Tang Clan. Hip-hop acts have always been polarizing choices when it comes to the Rock Hall, and what can I say about that I haven't said before? As part of the evolution of rock and roll, I have always supported rap and hip-hop acts being inducted into the Rock Hall. Many disagree, and I respect your opinions. As hip-hop acts go, I do think Wu-Tang are a solid choice. I mentioned all my wow reactions to the Rock Hall announcements, and this was not one of them. If anything, I thought Wu-Tang Clan was another inevitable choice. They were going to get in at some point, I had no doubt. And apparently, that point is now. All right, so we've talked about the 8 acts being inducted in the performer category, but of course there are other inductees in the side categories that are joining the class of 2026 as well. I don't want to go deep into those selections, but I do want to highlight a few of them. Hip-hop gets 2 more inductees in the early influence category with Queen Latifah and MC Lyte. I'd have said Queen Latifah was another inevitable inductee, so no shock here. Fela Kuti has been nominated twice in the past and had shockingly strong support in the fan vote, but this category feels like a better fit for him. And as for alt-country cult hero Graham Parsons, his induction rights a wrong for him not being included with the Byrds when they were inducted into the Rock Hall in 1991. Then over in the musical excellence category, we get 4 more inductees, including legendary producer Rick Rubin. This guy has worked with everybody from Beastie Boys to Red Hot Chili Peppers to AC/DC to Metallica to Johnny Cash, all of whom are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and now Rick Rubin deservedly takes his place among them. Easily one of my favorite choices for the class of 2026. But on the topic of favorite choices, we have to mention this year's fan vote, and the winners, New Edition. In spite of earning the most votes, they were not selected for induction in 2026. That means they'll join last year's fan vote winners Phish as winning the popular vote, only to be snubbed when it counts. Phil Collins came in second, with Luther Vandross ranking 5th, and Sade, Wu-Tang Clan, and Billy Idol ranking 7 through 9 respectively. And as much as I love Joy Division and New Order, I wasn't shocked to see them finish second to last in the fan vote. Still, New Order got in, New Edition did not. All right, well, let me wrap things up by once again expressing my bottom line opinion about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a whole, which is that ultimately nominations and inductions are based on an imperfect system. There's no shortage of music fans that absolutely despise it as an institution, not to mention a number of artists as well. As for me, and you've probably heard me say this multiple times before, I just don't take it all that seriously. In most cases, I tend to agree that the acts inducted are worthy of recognition. Some much more or much less than others. But it is undeniable that there are many, many more that are also worthy but continue to be overlooked. But I also have to admit that I always enjoy the annual Rock Hall debate over the nominees, the inductees, and of course the snubs. But the key word there is enjoy, because that's the whole point of music, isn't it? I honestly don't let any of it make me angry because it's just not worth it. And regardless, I always look forward to watching the ceremony itself, which always guarantees at least a few great one-of-a-kind performances. This year, the ceremony takes place at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles on November 14th and will be broadcast on ABC TV. Disney Plus and Hulu announced they'll also be streaming the ceremony later in December. It should be a night to remember, regardless of where you stand in the annual debate over who's in and who's been snubbed. But as always, I welcome your comments on the subject. Do you agree with this year's winners? How do you feel about the extra categories? Who do you think is the biggest snub? And is there anyone in the class of 2026 that you think hasn't earned their spot? Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Once again, my name's Kyle, and this has been Track by Track. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Plus, check out some of these other videos below that I think you might also enjoy. And of course, be sure to click subscribe because true music fans always want new releases the day they come out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.